Hi everyone, welcome to my recipe book with me, Tarika. Today I'm going to make a cheesecake that I've been obsessed with since I was about 15. So it's got this beautiful biscuity crumbly layer at the bottom and a smooth creamy layer of cheesecake on top. And the best thing is that it's a no-bake cheesecake, so you don't even have to go near the oven. I'm going to quickly get started by making the biscuit layer at the bottom. So this is just about 150 grams of digestive biscuits. So that's mostly broken up, and the bits that haven't broken up, I generally just crush them by hand, because if the blades haven't yet gotten to them, they're probably not going to get to them. So now to these biscuit crumbs, I'm just going to add 50 grams of melted butter. But don't add all of the butter in one go. Do it in 2 or 3 batches and just mix it well. You want this to get to a consistency of wet sand until they start making clumps together when you press it together like this. That's when you know it's ready. Now I'm just going to put all of this at the bottom of the springform pan. So I've greased the sides of the springform pan and lined the bottom with parchment paper and greased that too. Now I'm just going to press it into, I'm doing this by hand, but sometimes I use a small measuring cup, the back of the measuring cup, to just kind of get a nice even flat layer. So I've got one even layer. So now I'm just going to cover this up with cling film. Since this is a no-bake cheesecake, I'm only going to keep it in the refrigerator for about an hour or two, whatever works, but it has to be at least an hour. Okay, so let's see how this cling film behaves today. Not so tantrumy today though. Or maybe I'm just getting better. Okay, now to work on the filling, the first thing I need to get ready is the gelatin. I've got about a tablespoon of gelatin powder and I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of hot water. This is not boiling water, just make sure that it's hot water. I just want the gelatin to dissolve completely and cool. So I'm just going to whisk it as vigorously as I can in a tiny little bowl. So I'm just going to put this gelatin aside to cool while I make the filling, which is the best part of the cheesecake. So I'm just going to weigh out about 500 grams of cream cheese. And it's softened and at room temperature, but I'm still going to beat this up. There. This is smooth. And now I'm going to add condensed milk, which I'm just going to add in a slow, steady stream while I beat the cream cheese. Okay, so now that the condensed milk and cream cheese are mixed up, I'm going to add in all the flavorings. Vanilla extract is just always a must. And regardless of what flavor of cheesecake you're making, I just find that lemon zest is really important. That's the zest of 1 lemon. I'm going to make a lemon flavored cheesecake, so I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And the gelatin. I'm just going to add it all in one go and just blend it all together now in one go. So I'd already kept one base for the cheesecake ready in my refrigerator, and now I'm just going to pour this cream cheese mixture onto that. Just tap it out. Just nudge it slightly to get an even surface. Okay, so now I'm ready to wrap this up with cling film. And my struggles continue. Maybe it's just me. But if it's not me, maybe you should leave a comment and tell me about it. So I've got this right. Now this usually takes about 3 hours to set in my refrigerator, and anywhere from 3 to 4 hours is really safe for this to set. Otherwise, if you're making this ahead of time, you can leave this in your refrigerator overnight as well to set. been 3 hours and the cake, as promised, has set completely. Just run a knife along the edges. There it is. And I'm going to cut a nice big piece. So I've just made some plum sauce to go with this cake because it's a plain lemon cheesecake. I just wanted to add some color to the cake. Just pour this plum sauce. So I'm really not going to bore you with any more details because my crew and I just can't wait to dig into this cake. Hit the like button, share this recipe with your friends and subscribe to our channel. See ya! Guys, let's dig in.
Hi, this is Sneha here. Welcome to Masala Trails. So today we're going to make Ada Payasam. I don't know how many of y'all have heard about it, but if you've ever had the opportunity to go for a Keralite friend's wedding, you've probably had this. So this is a very fairly simple dessert to make, especially if you're in a hurry or you have unexpected guests or you have in-laws to please. In my opinion, it always works. I've got a liter of milk. You can use any non-skimmed milk. The fattier the better. So once you pour it, let it come to a boil and post-with just put it on simmer and let the volume come to about half. So you have a really nice thick condensed milk. So what we have here today is we have Ada. Ada is basically rice which is ground into a paste, rolled onto sheets and cut into tiny pieces. You and I are not going to make that effort. Hence, we just need to find a little South Indian market close by to our house. So once the milk comes to a boil and you simmer it down, you can only add this then. As you can see over here, now the milk has slightly reduced. So now I'm going to add the sugar, the Ada mixture. This is approximately about 50 to 60 grams of sugar, cardamom and Ada mixed together. Just make sure when you're mixing it that no clumps form because it's essential for the first 5 minutes that you just keep on stirring it. And like you can see that the color is also slightly changed to an off-white. Our payasam has thickened and it's also reduced itself considerably. Plus, a good way to check if your Ada is cooked is literally just take a small bite of it and it should be soft. That means it's cooked. So our payasam here is done. I'm going to let it rest for like 30 seconds again just to, sort of get all the flavors back inside it. And we'll get started with the next bit. I'm just going to pour a little ghee. Adding the cashew nuts. You just want the cashews to be a nice golden brown, nothing more, nothing less. So now I'm just going to leave that on a low flame so that it's ready by the time I pour my payasam into the bowl. So now that's done, let's just quickly check up on the cashew nuts. Can we see the lovely golden crunch on the cashews? That's precisely how we want it. Just make sure, all of them are uniformly cooked through. And off we pour this. So now that we've added the ghee and the cashew nuts, I'm just going to add like 2 strands of saffron to it, just to get that lovely color in place. And if you like this recipe, do like our video and also subscribe to our channel. Oh, it is delicious. It is really delicious.
Hello my lords, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Nick Saraf's Food Log. It's that special day of the year again, the day we try to desperately reconnect with every single person we've been out with through the year to celebrate our love and failing miserably doing so. But if in case you do succeed to connect with someone, I have for you a special dessert that you can make on this very special Valentine's Day. Something that will rise as high as your love, a chocolate souffle with crème anglaise. The first and the most important step for making any souffle is preparing the mold. Now why is that? Because we need to make sure that the souffle doesn't stick to the mold and rises properly in the oven. We're going to butter this mold and then line it with some caster sugar. And now we chill this in the fridge till we're ready to use them. So now it's time to make our base for the chocolate souffle. For this, I'm going to melt 250 grams of dark chocolate and about 50 grams of butter in a heat-proof bowl over a water bath. Once it is melted, we take it off the heat and out of the water bath. When the chocolate cools down slightly, we add in 4 egg yolks. And we whisk it together. To this we add a teaspoon of vanilla essence and whisk it again. Followed by 10 grams of corn flour and a pinch of salt. And now we keep this aside and work on the egg whites. And now I shall whisk these egg whites to stiff peaks, 8 egg whites to be precise. When the egg whites are foamy, we add in 50 grams of caster sugar, still whisking the egg whites. So, let's go. And the egg whites have reached stiff peak. And now it's time to cut and fold the egg whites into the chocolate mixture. For this, we first take 1/3 of the egg whites and mix it into the chocolate mixture to loosen it up. And then we cut and fold the rest of the egg whites in 2 batches. When we're done with this mixture, we pour it in our prepared chilled souffle molds. So, here we go. Fill it right up to the top. I also prepared some extra souffle molds in case I have some more mixture left. Make sure the tops are nice and flat. And clean off the excess of the sides. And now we place these in the oven at 200 degrees for 20 minutes. While the soufflés are rising in the oven, let's make the vanilla crème anglaise. For that, we take 235 milliliters of cream and put it on a medium to low heat. As the cream heats up, we add 65 grams of caster sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla essence to 4 egg yolks, and we whisk it together. And now we add this egg yolk and sugar mixture to the heated cream and stir it together with the spatula on low heat till the cream thickens. When the the mixture coats the back of the spoon, through which you can draw a finger, it's done. So we take it off the heat and immediately, to stop it from cooking further, pour it into another container. Now let's dust these with some icing sugar. So there you have it, chocolate soufflés with crème anglaise, a beautiful dessert for a beautiful Valentine. But make sure you eat them quickly, they fall as soon as they rise, just like true love. Let's make a hole and add some crème anglaise.
Hi guys, so today I'm going to show you how to make the most awesome chocolate cake. And by the way, it's completely vegan. What? Are you trying to tell me that there are no milk, butter or eggs in this cake? That's right, there's no butter, eggs or milk in this cake. You know what? She just never believes me, but I'm going to show you how to whip up this beauty. Let's see. I'm going to start by getting this cake pan ready. I'm going to use a loose bottom cake pan, and it's really important to use this loose bottom cake pan because the cake is going to end up being really moist and tender, and to turn it out of a regular cake pan is going to be a bit of a problem. So a parchment paper lined cake pan will just work out much better. I'm greasing this pan and the parchment paper with some oil. Normally you would use butter to grease a cake pan, but this is a vegan cake, remember? So there's no butter in this. I'm using oil instead. You can use either canola or sunflower oil to grease the pan. Really, the idea is to use a neutral flavored oil so that the oil doesn't leave its own strong flavor in the cake. So this is my biggest secret when I bake a chocolate cake, is that I dust the pan with some cocoa powder instead of using regular flour. This way the cake will slide out more easily, plus you won't get any white specks on the cake. I've just got the oven preheating to 190 degrees Celsius, and here's some lukewarm water. Lukewarm, not boiling, you should just be able to stick your finger in it comfortably. And I'm adding it to half a cup of cocoa powder. I'm just going to whisk it to get the lumps out. That's all nicely mixed up. I'm just going to set it aside so that it can cool a bit and get going with the dry ingredients. So I've got 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour here, and I'm adding 1 cup of caster sugar. I'm adding 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and just whisk it all together. You want all the dry ingredients nicely mixed up together and evenly distributed. Now, as much as is possible, make a well in the center of the dry ingredients and pour in this cocoa mixture and half a cup of, again, a neutral flavored oil like canola or sunflower. I've got canola here though. And a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now just whisk all of this together. Again, no hand mixer or electric beater required. You can just use a regular balloon whisk and whisk all of this together till there are no lumps. There's no problem of overmixing or overbeating this batter because there are no eggs in this batter or butter for that matter. Just beat it to get the lumps out. I reckon this works. Now for my secret ingredient in this batter, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of plain white vinegar. This plain white vinegar is what's going to combine with the baking soda in the batter to give the cake the rise that it requires. Now I'm going to pour this batter into the prepared cake pan, and it looks just so good. I could eat it as it is. Off to bake. So the cake takes generally about 30 to 40 minutes to bake, and now I'm going to let it cool on this wire rack for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes of letting the cake cool, just take a knife and run it along the edges of the pan, just to make sure that the cake is not sticking to the sides of the pan. Now I'm just going to open up the cake pan. Fingers crossed! I'm gently taking the bottom off to let the cake cool completely. And in the meantime, I'm going to make the chocolate glaze. So I've got 50 grams of chocolate that I've melted and cooled slightly. Just this glossy chocolate. And I'm adding 1/3 cup of sifted icing sugar. So it's starting to get a little lumpy. That's when I'm going to add some warm water. And just make sure that this is warm water, and again, not boiling water or anything. Now I'm just adding the rest of the icing sugar. Just work quickly to whisk it. If you don't follow a vegan lifestyle, you don't have to make this glaze. You could make a ganache. But even if you don't follow a vegan lifestyle, think of this as a much lighter chocolate cake to eat. Yeah, now the glaze is ready. So the cake's cooled completely, and now for the exciting part of adding the glaze. I'm going to very gently lift the parchment paper off, and because we've greased and dusted it so much, it's not stuck to the bottom of the cake at all. But you do have to do this very carefully nevertheless, because it's such a gentle little cake. This is going to be so awesome. Now I'm just going to pour all of the glaze, which has been cooled, on top of this cake. Just watch that. Oh my god. Just get all of that there. And use an offset spatula to just spread it around. And you can see that it's starting to set over the cake already. It's time to cut a nice big piece of this cake to impress someone, don't you think? It's a very moist, crumbed cake, so you just have to be a little careful that you don't break it when you pull it out. Look at that. Not bad. You're getting good at this. See? I told you.